Here, and we are good. Cool. All right, what's up, guys? Welcome to the Joyage Kingdom. I'm super excited to bring this episode to you guys. We have the co-founder of CryptoKitties, of DapperLabs, of Big Head Club. We got a whole bunch of stuff we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about his history back in the 2017 era, because I'm sure so many people are interested in that era. Because quite frankly, there ain't a lot of people that are back in that time doing stuff and actually building things. So we're going to talk about all the things. So yeah, welcome to the Joyage Kingdom. I'm Cage, your guide. I'll be replacing Little Voice for now. I'll be replacing the little voice inside your head for now, giving you a break from the constant internal monologue that is the human mind. I want to say thank you first for listening or viewing. I'll platform you're on. If you haven't already, smash the like button for me, subscribe to the channel, join the kingdom, and we're going to bring on Mack Flavelle right now. Graphic go on. Boom. Ka-chow.
That's a cool graphic.
I love that thing. One of my Discord people made that, actually. Like, all my stuff that I love has been made just by random people on my Discord. They're like, yo, send me that logo. I'm going to do something cool. Fucking love Discord, dude.
You want to know? Okay. Hold on. Before we get into it, let me tell you something. Early on in the time of Big Head, I was going to make NFT with a very famous rapper. And it was at the time that the like music NFT thing, not in the like weird way that we've been saying it in the last month, but like a year and a half ago when like people were making the loops and shit, and like just everybody was getting in. I was like, oh, you can make like $1 million getting an animator to loop your shit or whatever. So I had access to this rapper who's very good, and we're gonna do a thing. And I reached out to some artists, and I reached out to a friend of mine named, I wasn't a friend at the time, he became a friend, but I reached out to an artist who just blew me the fuck away, whose name was Victor Mosquera.
Okay.
And he said like, oh yeah, I would love to work on this, that'd be cool. I was like, well, I need more artists. Like, I want to do a group show. I want everybody to, you know, together we are more powerful than we are alone. Can't break the chopsticks if there's 10 of them, all that shit. So he was like, you should get my friend Oscar. And I was like, okay, cool, I will get Oscar. And so I met this guy Oscar, and then over time that drop fell apart. Things do. It became a bad idea. It was like the music thing was peaking. Yeah. The artists who I had brought on board were like, hey, like we're not sure this is a good idea. I'm like, okay, and it all fell apart, and that was a good thing. But during that journey, I was also starting this business. Like, the Big Head Club didn't exist yet. And so the first person who ever signed a contract with Big Head Club was this guy named Oscar. And I said to him, I said, someday I will make you proud to be the first Big Head Club artist. And he said, I already am. And it fucking melted my heart. I'll never forget that Oscar said that. But along the way, Oscar messaged me one day and said, what's your favorite color? And I said, it's blue. And he said, okay. And I live in a swamp. I live near you. You're in Seattle. I'm like as close to the American border as you can get due north of you. And I live in a swamp, and I have a statue of a head in the middle of my swamp. And I was like, that's where the name Big Head comes from. I named it.
Are you serious? I was gonna ask that.
Yeah, that's like legitimately. Besides the fact I have a fucking huge head, but it's because of the statue, the Big Head statue in the swamp.
Yeah.
So Oscar got a hold of me and was like, hey, I made you something. And he made the Big Head logo. The logo that we use, which you can't see here, is the blue Big Head logo. It's like egg-shaped, and it's blue. And he said, me and Victor are going to finish this for you. It's only halfway done. It's a work in progress. And then Oscar ended up doing Parallel. The CCG. Yes. Oscar's the lead artist on Parallel.
Oh, wow.
So he got really busy making a badass fucking CCG NFT and never finished my logo, and Victor never fucking got around to it. And we still use it as the Big Head logo, though. So this all comes from your first shit about, like, you like the things people made for you.
Yeah.
I discovered our logo in Discord made by those wonderful gentlemen, and I feel you.
Damn, dude. Shout out to all those guys. And that's hilarious. Dude, so when you say swamp, I'm picturing literally like Shrek's swamp. What is that?
I'm Shrek.
Yes? No? You're Shrek?
I have a black dog that looks exactly like Donkey. I have a beautiful wife. I got 2 kids. I sit in the swamp cursing and farting all the time. I don't leave. I'm legit. One time, a guy I used to work with named Saul, he photoshopped me green. And if you look,
Oh
like,
my god, that's actually hilarious.
it's not
actually really funny.
It's not a stretch, right? You're like,
That's
oh
fucked.
yeah, he does look like Shrek.
Damn,
I even got
dude.
a fucking ear that sticks out. Like, you know, Shrek. I got one ear that sticks out farther than the other. It's fucked up.
That's hilarious, dude. Damn. Wow, that's funny. I had no idea you were that close to me. So shit. All right, well that totally went in a totally different direction than I thought it was going to. That was the funniest story ever. I'm so glad you told me that story. That's so lit, and that's legendary, dude. Like that's like the logo now, and it's literally in your swamp. Fuck yeah, dude. Well, listen, I'm sure for a lot of people in the space, a lot of people have heard of DapperLabs. A lot of people have heard of CryptoKitties. Those are pretty OG names. I was interested as to, I mean, they're not the only projects from back in 2017. There are a multitude of projects that did launch back then, but I don't see much content about it. I don't see many people going on stage. Like I just watched this thing where you were on stage. It was called like Web 2 something, like Summit or something like that.
French shit. That was cool. I got to go to France. That was really nice.
Dude, that was cool as fuck. And you were out there. And the thing that caught me so off guard was, bro, you had so much charisma and confidence in 2018 or whenever you gave that talk. And I was just like, what were they like when they looked at you giving this speech talking about, you're like, yeah, man, we sold these cats on the blockchain. Like it's on Ethereum. And you like paused there and I just like looked around and I was like, what are they looking at? Like, what was that like?
So a couple things. That was in a town called Nantes. I think I'm saying that right.
Yeah.
Je pouvais parler français, mais c'est un nom difficile. I think it's pronounced Nantes, and it's where Jules Verne's is from, the author who did like Around the World in 80 Days and shit. Yeah. So there's a giant mechanical elephant, like 20 feet tall, giant mechanical elephant out front of where I gave that talk. And that talk was fun. Me and my wife had an amazing 3 days in France, and there was nobody in the audience.
Oh, like, no way.
6 people there. I rock it, like, you know, I make it look good because that's what
it did. I thought it was full. I thought it was I thought it was a full stadium or something like that.
There's like, I mean, not exaggerating, there was under 20 people and none of them spoke English. So it's like, but like I said,
that's hilarious.
And the only reason I went out there to do that one is because they were like, no, we're gonna record it and put it on YouTube. Yeah. And I was like, oh, I need artifacts that last. So, so this is worthwhile. And yeah, that was a weird time, to be honest. Like CryptoKitties had already peaked, and so it was, you know, they like booked the session. They asked me to come out or whatever when we were the coolest thing in the fucking world. By the time I actually got on stage, people were kind of like over NFTs, and they thought that was a fad that a ship like had sailed and it was over. Yeah, and so it was all kind of funny and awkward. But I got to take my wife to Nantes, and so I was into it. It was cool.
Oh yeah. Well, listen, I mean, that speech was enough for me. I actually got one of the Gen 1. I was going to get a Gen 0, but honestly, the ones that were Gen 0 that were available on buy now, there's not that many, by the way. I scrolled for fucking ever. Couldn't find any Gen 0s that I was like, that's mine. So I got a Gen 1, and I'm a huge fan. It's cute as fuck. Cute as fuck. I love it. It's my home screen now. It's my home screen on my thing.
You, man. That kind of looks like you.
Dude.
There's
I love the colors
there.
Yeah, man. And that's where I'm huge on there. And that's where I thought you and I kind of had the same perspective. I've heard again, as I told you before, I watched so many of your interviews, and the common theme I heard was they're like, okay, so like, what is, like, tell me the concept of the project. And you're like, well, like you like cats, and then you buy the cat and you're part of the cat, and they kind of look at you like, okay, what else? And for me, that's always how it's been. You know, that's where Bored Apes came. That's about the fucking goblins. Like, that's what the goblins are. It's just like you're buying into the club, like the fraternity or the sorority, whatever it is. What are your thoughts on the perspective now versus back then? I guess, I mean, it does work in 2022, but is the reason that people got in 2017 because of the vibes? I know you made it because of the vibes, and you were in there because of the vibes, but people who are investing their money, flipping cats for thousands of dollars, were they getting in purely for the money, you think, or was there actually interest in the art and stuff?
There was interest in the art. That was a hill that I was ready to die on. There wasn't nearly as much interest in the art as we would have liked. So CryptoKitties really was like explosively successful so long as it was dead easy to make money. Yeah. And it was for a long time. Like, anything you bought, you could then sell for more than you paid for it, or you would breed it and you would make a kitten and you could sell it for more than you paid for it. And at that point, everybody loved it. And then, like I said, like, it peaked, right? There was a time where it was everything, and then it wasn't everything. And we still had to go to work every day and figure out how to talk about it like it was a big deal and try and make it
Yeah.
a big deal again and all of this stuff. And that's just it's just not easy, man. People being mean to you on the internet and they're like, "Dev, do something," though they didn't have those words then, but like the same shit, right?
Yeah.
And I would always tell people about the guy who got I think I saw two, but one in particular, a guy in Lithuania who got a tattoo of a zombie cat. We made zombie fancy cats.
Let's go.
And he would get that. He got that tattooed on him. I would tell people that shit all the time because I was looking for the antithesis to the like money grabbing, get rich quick scheme bullshit of it all.
Yeah.
And so there were people who really, really loved the art, like there genuinely was, and the art was really neat and fun, and there wasn't much like it, but it wasn't as much as I wish it was, and it wasn't as much as we not just lied to the world about, but lied to ourselves about, right? Like we really wanted to believe that because we, to be clear, love the fucking art. Gile is a goddamn genius. Gile made all the original art, and he's the best.
Yeah, yeah, and you talked a lot about that. And one story that was so funny when Jordan told me when I had interviewed him a few months ago, it was crazy because when I got on the call with Jordan, it was literally I think it was literally weeks before they went from like 1 ETH to fucking wherever they mooned up to, like 12 or 15 or whatever it was at. And so I was actually really happy I was able to talk to him right before that kind of whole thing happened. And I remember we had originally talked because I had actually dropped a little bit of criticism. I was like, well, like this project's kind of mooning and everyone's kind of pumping it up. And I'm not quite sure why. Like right now, it's just this PFP. It's just an art project. And I was like, I'm not quite sure. And so he watched that video and reached out. I was like, hey man, like I'd love to come on and kind of just explain like what I mean from my perspective. And that was really fun for me to talk about. And he told me this story from 2018 at Christie's auction. He goes, yeah, man, Evan. And I assume that's Evan, like the founder of Doodles, but like also in the OG teams. And he was like, yeah, so we were all there. And he somehow snuck into Christie's auction and fucking somehow sold a what's it called, Celestial Cyber Dimension CryptoKitty for $140,000. And I was like, oh, how were you there? Was that, how does that happen? How's that even possible?
A guy named Ivan or Igor bought it, and it came with a physical thing. Like
Okay.
it was owned on a physical thing with a representation of it. Do you know who owns that cat now?
Oh wait, let me guess. Wait, a celebrity, or is it someone I wouldn't know?
Chain Faces Nate.
Oh shit, he owns it right now. Did he pay less for it, or did he pay for more for that?
A lot more. A lot more.
Let's
He went out
go.
and spent a whole bunch. So the thing is that like that stuff was crazy at the time. Like I always tell people, oh, I sold a cat for $30,000 and I almost fell over. Like I did. I leaned against the wall because like my legs started to buckle.
God damn.
And now people are like, oh, whatever. Like we just sold a Bored Ape, or like Richard didn't sell his punk for $10 million. I'm like, no, I know, but also it's 2022.
Exactly.
In 2017. This was like seeing an airplane fly for the first time. God, I'm an egotistical exaggerator, but no, it had a similar sense of like, oh man, this is like there's a before time and after time. If you ever go buy a paper copy of Lord of the Rings, like a soft cover version of Lord of the Rings, the quote that they love to put on the back of that book was somebody who said, life can be divided to before and after you read Lord of the Rings. It's like before Christ and after death, before Lord of the Rings, after Lord of the Rings. I would sort of argue as being kind of dumb, but like before the $30,000 cat and after the $30,000 cat would be the NFT market. The one exaggeration or the one not true part about that, and probably nobody remembers because nobody was there, was a rose sold for $1 million. And 10 people bought an NFT rose for $1 million. And everybody was like, this is the dumbest shit that has ever happened. Yeah. I keep meaning to check in on what happened to that rose. I don't know where the rose is, but it was the original like high water mark.
Who was buying in 2017? I was given a speech in my public speaking class from this sketchy ass 6'7" lanky kid with like a shirt that looked like it looked like his shirt that he had since middle school. So like obviously he was using all his money on chain and on the blockchain. And he gave the speech about Bitcoin. And I remember sitting there in class in the back. And at the end of it, I was like, that sounds like the sketchiest thing I've ever heard in my life. And I completely skipped out on it in 2017. What kind of person is dropping $1 million? Who are these, like billionaires that we don't know about? They're like low key. They have like $1 billion. Like who's buying these on blockchain back then?
So side note, really interesting, but relevant. The interesting thing about Flow the blockchain that Top Shot is on
Mhm.
is that Roham's bold vision and that entire team's vision and our vision at the time was to approach launching a blockchain very different than had ever been done before. So the big idea there, I mean, there's lots of big ideas, but one of the big ideas was this idea that developers will follow consumers and consumers will follow brands. So if you want to get the developers to build out your ecosystem, which is where long-term success in any kind of ecosystem, including a blockchain network, comes from, you need the developers, but you get the developers through the people because the developers will follow the people. The App Store was proof of that. Like the iOS App Store, you ain't old enough to remember, but there was a time before the App Store, and like the developers started building iOS apps and then Android apps because the people were using those devices.
Yeah.
And like we said, brands get people. So what we did with Flow was say we are going to launch a blockchain with massive consumer IP. That had never been done before. The only model for launching a blockchain up until then was to get a bunch of nerds, like real fucking developers, very into what you were doing, to drink the Kool-Aid, to believe deeply in the white paper, in the values of what you're talking about. And in that world, you have people who care for years without validation from the outside world. Those are the people who end up sitting on hundreds of millions of dollars worth of Ethereum. When you buy that shit at 10 cents each, and there was I don't know how many people, let's call it hundreds of people who paid for Ethereum when it cost cents, not dollars.
It's crazy. Insane.
And then, yeah, like, you know, maybe those guys, men and women, also were into Bitcoin first. If you made your money early in Bitcoin and then you got in early on Ethereum, I remember somebody telling me about Ethereum at the absolute fucking beginning. I didn't understand Bitcoin. I didn't understand blockchain. And a guy named Baron said to me, this is a big idea and it's interesting and you should go fuck with it. I'm like, wallet? I remember trying to explain wallets to me and all this. And I got so far as trying to install a wallet. I am 99% sure that MetaMask didn't exist at the time. Like this was literally the beginning of the Ethereum network. And I was, out of curiosity, I was like, I'm going to spend $100 on it, which now loosely would probably be worth like $100 million. And I couldn't figure out how to do it. I'm too dumb.
Oh my God,
and so I didn't.
dude.
I didn't. I own no Ethereum from back then.
Fuck. You know what's crazy? Back in when I got started in the NFT world specifically, that was right around the Bored Ape Yacht Club era, like in May or June or something like that. And when I got started on YouTube, at least, I couldn't find jack shit still about like how to problem solve through shit, like on MetaMask. Like, hey, this thing went wrong, and I'm like, yo, no, there's like nobody's making content about this still, and it's 2021, and like everyone's making videos like just on basically Bored Apes, like a couple other NFTs. So Gary Vee's rumblings about punks, but I wasn't even that deep into it to even consider buying one or anything like that. And it was crazy how much information really wasn't there. But then the explosion after obviously the summer just exploded with NFTs and stuff, and everyone basically heard about NFT. Well, okay, nobody heard about NFTs, but like to us, it feels like everybody is in NFTs. And so it kind of blew up and all these content creators came out. But I was really specifically wondering about what your thoughts are from the anonymity side. From 2017, when it was just getting started, there's not a whole lot of people on there. There's not even really like there's not social media like that. So, or what is your perspective on anonymity back then versus now? Do you fuck with anonymity now? Is that something you don't care about, or what is your perspective on that?
I think that when you tell your kids you gave hundreds or thousands of dollars to strangers hiding behind cartoon pictures of animals on the internet, and then they disappeared with your money, and you act surprised, your kids are going to look at you like you're a fucking idiot.
That's a good answer right there.
Anonymity is dumb for what we're doing. Now, it's also awesome. There's all sorts of shit that is dumb and awesome. Those two things are not mutually exclusive. But like, no, anonymous is fucking dumb. If for what we're doing, which is creating communities, like communities around anonymous founders, fuck off. That doesn't make any sense at all.
Really hard.
It's a sensation and it's hot and it works for a moment and like millions of dollars were made. High fives to everybody. Good for you. But this didn't work out and is not the future. It's fucking obvious. Of course that doesn't make sense. Of course you want to back people who are going to put their name on their shit. Like my word is my bond. ever since we did Sonacast, people know exactly who I am, exactly where I live, and they fucking love and hate me for it. There's lots of people who are really mean and really shitty to me. There's lots of people who are really nice and really kind to me. But it's all to me. It's not just some weird ass fucking representation of a animal in between. The anonymity makes no sense to me. There's a time and a place, especially in the old days, we're all figuring it out. We didn't know what was going on. That makes a lot more sense. But when you
did you know them back then? Like, did you like if they were on Reddit or something? Or, I don't know. I have no idea where you even talk to these people. But like, did you know them? Like Telegram. Okay. Did you know them? Did they bother doxing, or was it one of those like it doesn't fucking matter? It's like a gamer tag. Like we're all just out here talking.
Yeah, I think gamer tag is actually pretty good. Gamer tag is a pretty good reference or anchor point actually, because but people weren't building projects and raising money like this. Like, so right after CryptoKitties, a bunch of people tried to remake CryptoKitties. There's a really funny comment thread on, to me it's funny, I don't know if anybody else thinks it's funny, but every imaginable version of a ripoff of CryptoKitties emerged in the weeks and months after CryptoKitties. And crazy. It was like crypto dogs, crypto dragons, crypto everything. And there was one called Crypto Llamas. And at the time, any software project that launched in this world would launch on a site called Product Hunt, my friend Ryan made. And there was these dudes who launched Crypto Llamas. And I really am not bothered by people copying my shit. Like, not even remotely. I encourage people to copy my shit. Side note, the reason that the Chinese tech ecosystem is going to crush all of us is because they copy each other. They're not like all weird and pretentious and like fucking stuck up about, oh, this is my art and I did this thing and like, oh, you're copying me? Fuck no. They're like, oh, I'm going to eat you and I'm going to do a better job than you. And thank you for the lesson. And now I will consume you. And by the way, you should do that same thing back to me. I literally believe that culturally, the Western world is going to get fucking eaten alive by China's technology industry because of this lack of pretentiousness around like, oh, I'm an artist and I'm doing special things. So I really don't give a fuck if people copy my shit. Like, I truly do not. I've always been this way. People from the old days will tell you this. Because I'll copy your shit too. I'll come back.
Oh, I see. I got you.
That's how this works. You try and beat me. I'm smarter than you. I will beat you. That's the game. And I love that game. Like, that's super fun. We're into it. But what's cool, it's not necessary, but what's cool is if people at least plus one you. Steal my shit, make it a little bit better, and come back. And I'm going to tell you an example of that in a second. Before I do, I'm going to tell you about this thread on Product Hunt for Crypto Llamas. So there's people who came out and made Crypto Llamas. And I saw that one. I was probably having a bad day. It was like we were seeing multiple a day of these clones. And like some were direct copies. There's this thing called Cloud Kitties that looked pixel for pixel identical to CryptoKitties. It was out of China. That shit, I was like, oh, that's annoying. But all these like crypto dogs and all these other things that were just identical, I'm like, okay, whatever. And then I seen somebody on Product Hunt who launched Crypto Llamas be like, oh, our super innovative project, whatever. And I was like, you copied our art. Like, you're using the same eyes as us. And that's fine. Best of luck to you. It'd be cool if you acknowledged it. And then they were like, no, that's not true at all. Our artists love this and have been spending so much time crafting this. And the guy who didn't even work with the Axiom Zen, which was the pre-Dapper, but who used to work there, he jumped in and he caught feelings. He was like, fuck you, fuck this. Like, don't be dumb about this. And I was like, hey, he's right. Like, I ain't going to fight with you about it, but he's right. But here's the thing. Those people did not plus one us. Those people just copied us. On the other hand, there was this company that wrote a blog post and said, we love CryptoKitties. It's amazing, but it's not good enough. They fucked up 3 things. And these are those 3 things. And they list them out. To this day, I don't remember what they are. One was about inflation. One was about too many cats.
Okay.
And we read that blog post and we're like, oh, that's cute. Like, you're kind of right, but like, it's fucking adorable, whatever. Have at her. We called that company. I think we talked about trying to buy them one time. They're just nice little Vietnamese kids. That thing is now called Axie Infinity.
Oh my God, bro. Are you kidding me? You kidding me?
Axie
the same
Infinity,
guys? Same guys who started? Oh my God.
It literally is Axie Infinity. Like, that project was created as a response to CryptoKitties.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Dude, fuck Axie. I still have hundreds of dollars locked up in their Ronin bridge right now. Damn, dude, that's hilarious. Wow, what a fucking story. Jesus Christ. Yeah, and when we were talking about anonymity, like one analogy I use for some people as to why I try my best to focus on things like having a fucking docs founder. I think that's super important. Is that like it'd be like you getting onto an airplane with a totally anonymous pilot and flight attendant and engineers. You're like, by the way, you don't even know which plane you're on. You might be on Spirit. You might also be in Delta. You might be on Alaska. We're not going to tell you though. We're going to tell you after you get there. We're going to tell you, kind of thing. Like after you get there and you buy 4 more tickets, then I'll tell you, kind of thing. And it's just wild that people are doing that. And then you also brought up. Never mind. Actually, I thought you were about to say something. Go into that. Sorry.
I think that shit's fine as long as you know what you're getting into. Like,
okay, yeah.
Do you go to the casino and gamble? Yes, cool. Do you spend money on fucking anonymous teams? Cool. Just acknowledge that's what you're doing.
Right.
If you're like, no, like I believe in this project and the vision and the team that's going to stand behind it. The next Toy Story is not coming from an anonymous team. The next Toy Story is going to be pioneered inside NFTs, and it's not going to come from an anonymous team. I fucking love Goblins. I wish I'd made Goblins. I'm going to copy Goblins. I may or may not be releasing an anonymous project in the near future that is not tied to my name, that you will not know as me, and I'm going to do it for fun and interest.
Yeah.
Probably give all the money away. But it's not Big Head Club. It's not the brand that we stand behind where I'm like, dude, I put my fucking phone number on the internet. And I'm like, if you have any concerns. Really?
Oh my God.
Yeah. My team gets real mad at me when I do that. I give my email address to everybody. And I'm like, listen, if you want to talk about anything, I put my name on my fucking work. Doesn't mean that we don't make mistakes. We make mistakes all the fucking time. But get at me. Mack at bighead.club. I'm not giving you my phone number, Bryce.
Sorry, Bryce. That's so funny, dude. Oh my God. I mean, we probably talk for hours about like the 2017 era, and I definitely want to touch on a couple things with Stoner Cats. But with Big Head Club, you guys are trying to blow up artists that you think are dope. So it's all about the art. It's all about kind of the vibes. I know you had the Japanese project from last year. I remember that was dope. I really loved the art there. Loved the artist. And I'm Japanese, so like I thought the haiku behind it was really cool. With Big Head Club, the vision there is to blow up artists. Are y'all still continuing to put out projects? Like, is the goal to raise the artists to a level where they're making like they're getting hired by other projects, or like what's the exact goal for the artists? Is it just to build their IP kind of thing, or is it for the Big Head Club to build their IP together kind of thing?
It would be really cool if I had some grand vision that I could pretend I knew and was going to unify all of that. But in fact, we are putting one foot in front of the other. So I'll tell you this. Cool. The first thing we did was a piece of art that we produced by a guy named Joyage. He's an incredible Polish artist. He was an incredible artist before we met him. He's an incredible artist after we met him. We were honored to help him publish his piece. And we just helped an artist publish a single piece of art. That was cool. Then we did Stoner Cats, which has some big names that you've heard of. Yep. Then we did Oni Ronin, which is absolutely bizarre, strange, incredible Japanese fantasy heavy metal art.
That was the one.
The artist on that was my neighbor for 15 years. And I've known him for a long time. And
shit! I thought it was some dude like in another country like that you like. Oh, I found him on Instagram through this like through this hole I found. That's crazy.
I do have artists I found on Instagram that I pay every month to make weird art with me, but not Lance. Lance is a guy who made a Temple of the Swamp Giraffes VR game with me 10 years ago. Yeah. Lance carved jade skulls. Like literally, Lance is a real world 3D artist who carved jade skulls because I connected him with my family who was related to the jade business at the time.
Damn, dude. That's awesome.
We made more money for Lance in a year than he's ever made in a year.
That's crazy, dude.
We fucking love that.
Yeah.
Like, we drank a lot of red wine on my patio, me and Lance. I fucking raised that guy's tomato plants. He moved out of our building, and I took his tomato plants. I still have one of his tomato plants.
Funny.
And that guy made hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars making art for us. That was fucking amazing. Then we did Ghostbusters. That's one of the biggest IP on Earth. So we flip-flop between all of these. And then the last one we did was a thing called String Bean is the artist. String Bean is an anonymous artist. And the collection is called Germinations. You can find it on the internet. Someday people are gonna be like, "Holy shit!" Today they don't know, but there's a magic in those woods.
Well, and it's interesting you say that because you've not even I was gonna say not only maintained your like stature within like the blockchain world and went through where people know your name, people know where you're at, what you've done. What exactly, like, how'd you get there? What were you doing before the blockchain and the CryptoKitties? Like, I know you worked and you had these conversations and you were like, yeah, like I was in this room with the CEO of Tinder and I was in this meeting with this guy and that girl. And I'm just like, how the fuck, like, did all those connections and stuff come from the original, like the blockchain world, or did you come from somewhere before that where you had all that like skills and the connections and stuff?
It was the head of product at Tinder, not the CEO.
So, okay, head of product.
And no, it's all from this shit. There's a small exception at that. Right before we, so Axiom Zen is the company that made CryptoKitties. Axiom Zen is the company that made the 721 standard. Dapper came out of Axiom Zen. Axiom Zen was a software strategy consulting innovation foundry, blah 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 blah. For all your fancy words, we made shit.
Yeah.
And a very old friend of mine is a guy named Mike Edwards, and Mike Edwards got to know CAA. CAA is the largest talent agency on earth.
So yeah, I'm familiar with that.
And CAA started working with Axiom Zen. So the year before CryptoKitties, I worked on an app for Tom Hanks that never went anywhere. You probably don't know who fucking Tom Hanks is.
I fucking know who Tom Hanks is. Are you kidding me? Love Tom Hanks. Oh my God.
It never went anywhere. It never went anywhere. But there's also, oh my God, my first celebrity moment of all time is a woman named Jennifer Lawrence,
Jennifer Lawrence. Are you talking about Hunger Games, Jennifer Lawrence?
Yes, Hunger Games.
Okay, so, all right. Tell me more, please.
Watch an episode of David. Oh God, what's his name? David Letterman. I think it's David Letterman. And she's talking to TJ, the guy from Silicon Valley.
Mm-hmm.
And they're both on, I forget what late night show it is, but they're both on a late night show. And the bit on the late night show is like, pitch your startup or pitch your app idea or whatever. And she talks about her idea for this thing that makes you and your dog look the same. It like a Snapchat filter that makes you and your dog look the same. And then she describes it, and then she describes how fucking dumb the people are who she described it to who could not make the app. That was me. I am the person that she does not name, but she's describing as too dumb to figure out her idea.
Brutal.
So we started flirting with talent in Hollywood a little bit at Axiom Zen, and then that didn't pan out. And I remember, honestly, that year I was like, this is objectively the weirdest year of my career. Like, it's never going to get any stranger than this. And then 1 year later, I was like, let's make cats fuck on the blockchain.
Yeah.
And then 1 year later, I was in the NBA office being like, let's make LeBron James NFTs.
Damn.
And at that point, I was like, I'm never going to say this is the weirdest year. I'll be honest, 2021 was the weirdest fucking year of my life. It just keeps, now I accept it. Like, I'm not saying it'll always get weirder. Like, at some point you got to peak. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't know when my peak is. I may have hit my peak. I've just stopped pretending to be able to call the top. I am not the Steve Aoki of my own weirdness.
Oh, no. Oh, by the way, if you're in goblins right now, Aoki bought a goblin. He bought two, actually. I saw that last night. Be very careful, everybody, if you have a goblin. He has a literal track record of calling the top. Like, that's not even a joke.
He's magical.
It's almost worse than the lunar cycles, bro. The lunar cycles and the crypt, like, that shit is wild to me. But damn, dude, that's crazy that I didn't even know about the thing with Tom Hanks, especially. That is wild.
Nobody knows about that one. I probably shouldn't have told you. I'm gonna get a call from CAA when this is done.
I was about to say, you're about to have a 2022 of a weird year of 2022. Someone's gonna watch this and be like, hey, hold on a fucking second. But so in a podcast before, you had said one time that you were like, maybe someone asked you how you deal with hate, or if you have hate, and you were like, yeah, fuck yeah, I have hate, and it hurts like hell when people are mean to you online. When something like that happens, where Jennifer Lawrence calls you out on national television, but doesn't call you out, but you're sitting there, you're like, oh man, that's me. That's literally me. Does your face turn red? Do you start crying? Did you like cuddle up to your wife? Like, what happened?
That shit was great. That shit, I was like, hey, I made the internet. I wish my mother gave a fuck who Jennifer Lawrence was so I could call her and be like, look, she's talking shit about me on the TV. No, I mean, honestly, one reason that it hurts when people are mean is because sometimes they're right. Like everybody likes to think that they're so fucking perfect and they didn't make no mistakes, and everybody's shitty to them on the internet. People are shitty to me on the internet on a semi-regular basis, and some of the time they are just unalterably full of shit.
Yeah.
And some of the time they've got some kind of like shitty insight, and I'm like, God damn it, you're right. Like I fucked up,
there too.
and there's consequence for me fucking up, and that sucks. And I wish you would stop fucking rubbing my face in it on the internet. I did not do it out of ill will. Here's the absolute fucking truth of this life. 9 out of 10 times when shit goes wrong, there's no villainy. There's no maliciousness. There's very little villainy in this world, in my experience. There's a fuck ton of stupidity.
Yeah.
There's a lot of dumb shit. And the consequence of dumb and evil is often the same. People get hurt as a byproduct of both of those. But most people are not bad or mean or behaving poorly. They're just goddamn stupid.
Yeah, I agree. And
myself included.
Well, I remember someone had said they're basically like, nothing's ever personal because shit's always just happening. You just happen to be right there when it happens. If something bad happens or something goes wrong or someone has a bad day and something falls through, it's usually not personal. They're like, you just happen to be right there in the line of fire. But that is really interesting. Like you had some massive dubs, you had some massive fails. Did the thing with like when you start to connect with some of these big ass people like Mila Kunis, like NBA, stuff like that, what does that conversation look like back then versus now? Because I've never been in contact with someone like that big or someone with that much stature.
Hold on one second. My kid wants some shit. What do you want?
Oh yeah, go for
it. So a couple things. One is really interesting how spending a little bit of time with some of those people that you're describing taught me to think about that like so before I knew anybody who's famous, and I'm kind of a crazy cell phone at this point. I'll be honest. If you're like, oh, like I need to get a hold of some, I don't know how to get a hold of Zuckerberg, and I don't know how to get a hold of Barack. Those are like the two people that I might ever want to talk to that I don't know how to yet. Actually, I could probably get to them. But
mission for 2022.
2022 Obama is not a bad mission. Actually, I got like 6 months. Let's see what I can do.
You got this, dude.
The thing is that when I used to hear about like celebrities being upset because some mouth-breathing piece of shit on the internet talk trash, I'd be like, first of all, you're rich. Second of all, you're famous, which we're going to equate with powerful. So you're rich and you're powerful. And third, you're beautiful. What the fuck do you care if some motherfucker in Albuquerque has some dumb shit to say in the comments about you? And now I kind of get it. Now I'm like, oh, to be honest, like Mila Kunis is one of the smartest, kindest, most wonderful people I've ever fucking met. She happens to have the most beautiful house I've ever seen in my life. Her husband is obnoxiously handsome.
Oh God, there must go somewhere else.
No, that dude, like I've known Ashton, you know, through calls like this, through video calls for a while.
Yeah.
But when I met that dude in real life, I was just like, fuck. I was there with my wife and my sister-in-law, and I was like, I got to be careful, man. Like this dude's got game, and he's even trying to. He's the most beautiful man I have ever met, and he's smart, and he's saving kids from getting kidnapped. He's like basically Batman and shit. It's just it's too much. But everybody's just people, man. Everybody is just human beings who've got their problems and who've got their goals, and they're all just trying to put one foot in front of the other. They're not trying to be shitty. Some people are greedy. Most people aren't. I don't know.
Yeah. So Mila Kunis, I'm gonna be selfish here. She's my all-time crushes here. I've watched a lot of her movies. I love her as an actress. I fucking don't know her in real life. What is she like in person? Like when you talk to her, what are the vibes? Like if you had to explain the actual vibes, you show up, you chat. Is it super chill? Is she like awkward, low key? Like how is? I mean, you probably wouldn't say
best listener I've ever met. Best.
Okay.
Maybe I've ever met is like overstating it, but she is incredibly good at listening to you, making eye contact while she listens to you, processes what you're saying, and then replies to what you actually said. And that's an
underrated.
Yeah, underrated, also underperformed thing. You know what I never met the guy, but of course I never met him. Bill Clinton. Apparently Bill Clinton made people feel heard. And a thing I heard that he
Interesting.
did was he'd grab you by, it sounds weird, but he'd like, when he would shake your hand, he would grab you by the elbow as well. And then he
Yeah.
would stop, and it was like he cleared out all the distractions. And I mean, he didn't even have cell phones in his era, but he would look at you and listen to you. We don't do a lot of that these days. We live in a very distracted culture. Mila Kunis, in my experience, is listening carefully and thoughtfully responding. And it's a fucking wonderful thing to have that level of intimacy, emotional and intellectual, with a human being. And she fucking rules for that reason.
Wow. That is super fucking cool. That's probably a top. That's gotta be a top tier compliment for anyone to give. Yeah, especially in this world, and especially as we continue. I feel like it gets faster and faster as every month passes. Like literally, just everything feels faster. Like no matter what it is, it just feels like I gotta move faster. Walking to get groceries, like I gotta get there fast as possible. I gotta get back before 4 o'clock so I can edit this thing or get on this call or whatever it is.
And check notifications 19 times
Yes.
in between, and then send yourself a fucking email about the thing that you saw in the notifications that you don't have time to deal with, but you'll add to your list to deal with later. To clear out that level of distraction and just like be present is a gift that woman has.
All right, so how about this? On Mint Day, were you with her? What was that like for Stoner Cats?
Nope. Mint Day was shit. Mint Day we fucked up. Mint Day we had people trying to mint at the hour of launch, and we weren't ready. And we spent 3 hours. And I really am not a huge fan of war metaphors in business. Business is not war. And the kind of like little dick douchebag that runs around trying to pretend that it is doesn't understand either, I would argue. But having like loosely 15,000 people in our Discord, what felt like smashing their spears on the ground, being like, it was a lot of people, and they were very upset, and they were very like, what's fucking going on? Let's go. And we weren't ready. And I remember actually yelling into the like group Discord, because we're a distributed team, hold the line. I felt like Mel Gibson in fucking Braveheart. I think that's the one. And I was like,
I heard this story. You were like, all right, if you want to hate, you have to hit it at me, right? Was that the story where you were like, just blame it all on me, I'll take it? Well,
it probably is. You should.
Something like that.
If you're in charge, you should do that shit. That's your fucking job.
But I heard you were in chat. You were just like, hit me. You were like, come on to chat, whatever you gotta say, right? Is that it?
Yes.
Damn, dude. That's some balls right there, though. Did they shit on you? Because like I've noticed even if I just shoot them a DM, usually if someone's mad at me, they'll never come at me with hate after I talk to them in person or if I talk to them privately or something. Was it still the same level of hate when they actually said it to you?
There was a lot. Damn. And we were 3 hours late on the Mint going live, and I kept yelling, like literally yelling into a call like this, like, no, fucking do not buckle. We are fine. And 3 hours later, I made the call, and I was like, nope, pack it in. We were wrong. We missed. This really sucks. This is really hard. And Mila called me an hour later. There's so many people involved in this project. So many people cared very deeply. We're trying very hard. And she called me, like an hour later, or maybe less, and was like, are we doing this tomorrow? And I said, yes. And she said, are we going to be ready tomorrow? And I said, yes. And she said, are we going to sell all the Stoner Cats tomorrow? And I said, yes. And she said, then it doesn't fucking matter, does it?
Yeah.
And I was like, okay,
it's true.
Cool. And we sold all the Stoner Cats the next day, and like it all lived happily ever after. But that was again, like I don't like war metaphors in business, and I have no idea why me sitting at home with a bunch of strangers on the internet yelling shit into Discord made me feel a certain kind of way. But I definitely caught the fucking feelings. It really did feel like a very high intensity emotional experience.
I believe it, dude. I mean, it's very similar to like if you I don't know. I feel this is an example. People my age probably would understand really well, or like who are working like part-time jobs. I remember I was working at the restaurant. My boss walked up. He's like, "Hey, man." I was like, "What's up?" And he was just like, "After your shift, just come find me." And I was like, "You motherfucker, bro!" I was like, "I got 5 hours to let that sit in my gut now." And that was awful, dude. So I imagine it's very similar. Like something goes wrong and you know that something's wrong and you're like, oh God, like you feel like the world's going to end. Your gut, it's like just tight. You know, everything just feels tight.
Compact. For what it's worth, I've been fired from more jobs than you will ever have in your life.
Really? Holy shit.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Like
tell me
literally
about that.
dozens and dozens.
What kind of jobs were you working before?
All of them. Every minimum wage job in existence I've worked. I've worked at multiple fast food restaurants. I've been a security guard many places. I've picked onions in a field in Norway. I sold.
Wait, what? What?
I delivered
That is
phone
so
books.
random.
I dressed up as a clown when I was 12 years old and waved fucking flower signs on the side of the road.
Wow.
I was the ice cream guy for 4 hours. I worked on an organic
4
chicken
hours.
farm. I worked at multiple coffee shops. I washed dishes in a Mexican restaurant. I washed
Sir,
dishes
we're
in
talking
another
about real
restaurant.
life, not metaverse jobs. We're talking about real life. There's no way. How did you work? How old are you, bro? Are you 100? Like, how did you work all these jobs? I've only worked like 5 jobs in my whole life.
Thing is when I was young, getting paid minimum wage, people would treat me shitty, and I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna go. Like, I'm gonna quit. And I remember somebody saying to me, like, you can't just fucking quit your job because you don't like it. And I was like, no, you misunderstand. When I'm old, I'm gonna have a wife and kids. And then I can't just quit my job. But today I can do whatever the fuck I want. I mean, I worked at Blockbuster. You don't even know what Blockbuster is, but
dude,
I do.
I'm 23. I didn't have an iPhone until 10th grade. Or 10th grade, I think. I'm 23. I'm not old. I'm still young. But damn, dude, that's wild. That's a super fucking. I hope someone clips that. Somebody clip that. Bryce, clip that for me about how you said that's a super interesting perspective to have at that young of an age to say, no, I literally can walk out right now, because there's a lot of people my age in the restaurant, especially. My God, the amount of times I had this same story, the same servers say, God, I fucking hate this job. Maybe the boss said this to me. Josh says this. Josh says that. I'm like, friend, just oh shit, I just doxed her. Like, just quit. Like, just leave. Like, you're not even making that much money. You get gypped every other table. Just fucking leave. Just walk out right now. We can handle it. I'll take your tables. Well, I can't. I gotta like do this. And you can just walk out, and you probably can find a job within an hour. You know.
Well, so that's the thing, is I don't want to disrespect anybody's hustle who can't walk out. Like, I was in a position, I have a nice little middle-class family. It's not like I was going to live on the streets. If I had to call my parents and be like, oh, I really fucked up and I need $500 for rent at the end of the month, I could have called my parents. And 2, I had 3 jobs at a time. While I was getting married, I worked at Blockbuster and the coffee shop and the restaurant. So, I created diversity for myself. And 3, I was really, really good at getting jobs. I was really good at just walking into the next place and being like, hey, I was a bouncer at a couple different bars. And dude, one time this guy was over at my house playing poker. And I was like, I need to get a fucking job. And he said, oh, I work at a restaurant and we need to hire a dishwasher. And I was like, ooh, I can wash dishes.
Yeah.
And he said, okay, well, I can basically guarantee you the job, but you do need to just like stop by the restaurant tomorrow, bring a resume, and meet the chef, because he has to say yes. And I was like, cool, okay. And he said, just to be clear, like, this was 20 years ago, so this won't sound as crazy, but he's like, the guy has tattoos on his face and tattoos on his dick. And so keep that in mind. And
why would that need to be in your mind?
Perspective on who I was interviewing with.
Okay.
And as a result, perspective on the resume that I wrote. So I wrote a resume for him that I was like, yeah, I've worked for meth addicts in a Mexican restaurant. Yes, I've had like alcoholics try and beat me up while I'm in the kitchen. I've like I can do this. I know what this life is like, And I went down there and he was like, who the fuck are you? And I'm like, oh, I'm the guy that Jim said you could hire today to wash your dishes. And he's like, I just hired a dishwasher. Get the fuck out of here. I was like, oh. And so I left, and I was walking by a bar called the Piccadilly, and I knocked on the door, and it was the middle of the day, so like the bar's not open, but this doesn't even totally make sense. Like, my memory must be kind of odd, because I knocked on the door, and it's a guy named Ronnie. Ronnie's cool. Hey, he wasn't that cool. Ronnie's kind of cool. Ronnie answered the door, and he was smoking inside, which at the time you weren't supposed to do. And I was like, ooh, this is fun. And I was like, can I come wash dishes here? And he's like, we don't fucking serve food. And I was like, oh. God. And he's like, can you bounce? And I'm like, yeah, man. Like, sure. I can stand by the door or whatever. He's like, come inside. And we went inside, and he kept smoking. And I was like, can I smoke inside? And he's like, yes, you can. I was so excited. And I showed him my resume, and he looked at it, and he was like, okay, you're hired. Oh, shit. Okay. I just had a lot of jobs. I had a lot of jobs.
That is awesome. I mean, your ability to like my friend told me I have the gift of gab. I can just kind of ramble. Just give me a fucking word and I'll roll with it. Same with you. I think you just roll in, and you're like, look, dude, here's what I got to offer. You can take it or leave it. I'm gonna be fine with or without this. And it's probably I think it's that confidence that kind of got you in with all those people. And that's something similar when I interviewed Frankie. I had prepared for that podcast really well. He was like, hey, I like you literally have 29 minutes with me. Like it's like super busy week. You have 29 minutes. Okay. And so I was like, okay. So I went in there and I was like, so I had heard his energy. And it was like really, really intense, really charismatic, just kind of like you, just like super charismatic, very confident in what he's doing. He's done the thing. He's been here forever. He's like, look, I've worked with the biggest people, Snoop Dogg. I was working with Gary Vee and all these things. And it's that confidence that kind of gives you a total level up over anybody, and just in any situation, really. Does that kind of confidence come through self-respect that you get by accomplishing shit, or is that something you were born with as long as you were a kid, from your mom? Like, where's that stuff come from, you think?
I have to tell you two things first. One, first time Frankie interviewed at Dapper, a woman named Kim, who's probably still the head of product on something like Dapper Wallet or something. Mm-hmm. I like her a lot. She's very smart. She interviewed Frankie first, and she messaged me, and she's like, hey, I just interviewed a guy who really reminds me of you. And we probably don't need two of you.
Oh, God,
here,
that's hilarious.
But you should talk to Frankie. And I called Frankie, and it was the weirdest thing, because when I was done talking to Frankie, turns out that, like, we had been crossing paths online for years. Frankie made a shirt app called Yo Shirt that nobody knows, but it's an app where you can make a shirt with whatever you want on it. I made a fucking t-shirt with my face on it, as big as the entire shirt. You can find pictures of it online if you look, and it's obnoxious.
Wait, what's it called?
The app is called Yo Shirt.
Yo Shirt.
I don't know if that's how you'll find the picture of me. There are, you might find, if you like Google image search me, I have seen it. There's a picture of me like holding my shit open with that face on that shirt. Frankie made that fucking app. I didn't know that when I met Frankie. Me and Frankie then started looking, and like that site Product Hunt I talked about, we had been leaving comments on each other's shit on Product Hunt. We found each other talking in each other's blogs. We are like soul-bound brothers. That guy's art is all over my walls over there. I have giant pictures of He-Man and Skeletor that he made for me for free. Because I fucking love He-Man and Skeletor.
Hell yeah.
God, me and Frankie been through a lot of shit together. But there's something else I want. Oh, my best Frankie story, my favorite Frankie story. I don't know if he likes me telling this, but he went and did like one of those hallucinogenic rituals. Not just like
ayahuasca?
Yeah, that one, ayahuasca.
Hell yeah.
And you're supposed to go spend a bunch of time in the tent, and you do the throwing up, and I think it's supposed to be like 72 hours. Like, it's a fucking commitment. It's serious.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And he was really excited about this, and we were talking about it, and I was like, yeah, man, like, I'm not going with you, but you know, that sounds interesting, certainly. And he was living in Las Vegas at the time. I'm up here in Canada, but I messaged him afterwards, and I was like, hey, how was it? And he said, halfway through, I realized they were trying to dissolve my ego.
Yeah.
But I'm Frankie fucking Nines. Why would I do that? And I stood up and I walked out. And I was like, oh, shit.
That is awesome, dude.
He's the best.
Wow.
Yeah, I fucking, I love that man. He's amazing. He's the best.
Yeah.
He really is.
He's such a nice guy. Yeah, 100%, dude. And he's just got so much like, I just don't know. Like, he's just such a beast. He's just such a beast. And hold on, Bryce just texted me. He said, "Hey, I just sent you something on Twitter. I think it was something else, but I found this. Let me know if this is the shirt. I don't think this is the shirt because this isn't a photo of you, but it's a photo of something, and it's old. This is an old picture. This looks like it was taken a few years ago. I think potentially.
Hey!
What is this?
So, to be honest, I don't know who those people are. I saw this picture once and I was like, I have no idea who those people are. But that shirt, and like, I forget about this part, but to the respect of, first of all, that is an Egyptian pharaoh necklace from my fucking grandma.
Dude, I have one of those. Not the exact one, but I have something similar to that. Yeah,
RIP. I had to stop rocking that. I would wear that all the time, except my fucking son kept hugging me and smashing his face on it. And he kept fucking up his face. And so I was like, Grandma, I love you, and I love your necklace, but you're dead, and my kid is alive, and he keeps fucking his face up on this necklace.
Oh, God.
But here's the thing. The There's a guy named Benny. Benny's the best. Benny's the smartest, fucking craziest maniac around. And we launched CryptoKitties before we had a brand figured out. Like
Wow.
we really didn't know what the brand. We didn't have time to figure it out.
Yeah.
And so we did weird shit like Benny, specifically Benny, made tie-dye shirts and put like cats on them and wrote CryptoKitties in peeling ink. I still have one of those. There's these famous star shirts, and they've just got a giant cat and stars. And it's because we didn't have a CryptoKitties brand yet. We did eventually. We had a very polished brand. But we didn't let the fact that we didn't have a brand stop us from just like fucking around and going to market. And that's what that shirt is.
That's legend, dude. That's legend that you still have those. I still have like, I mean, my brand's like very new. Like I literally started doing YouTube videos like I've done YouTube videos for 10 years, but I've only recently caught the traction of the algorithm in this past 8 or 9 months. And so I have like my first edition shirts that I literally just like copy bullshit onto Amazon, did like a custom t-shirt, $19 straight up, just like Hanes or whatever Walmart brands. And I think I have a couple shirts back in my parents' house, but it's so cool that you have those. Like those are, you could probably sell those for a good bit of money right there as like a collector's item, no?
I think on the next wave of NFTs, I think the next time that people are like, what is this Gen Zero CryptoKitty? And that time is not now. But next time around the sun, whether that's in 6 months or 6 years, probably.
Yeah, that's my thought there. I like the I like some of the older projects. I think mainly for me, it's just kind of like a trophy piece. It's like it's just so cool to be part of that and be in that community, have one of those. Like I know some people are big, like Gary Vee's big on like plasma bears. I think it's called, another older project, and it's just kind of cool to be like, yeah, I have one of those. Like, and you never know. Like in 5 years, those might be the most expensive NFT. Like who knows what the meta it just happens sometimes. Like meta just happens. Sometimes Gary Vee will just say something and it just becomes the answer. But like, what is your perspective on Gary V specifically for 2021-22 when he started talking about NFTs? A lot of people are, completely either I fucking hate that guy or they're like, I fucking love that guy and he saved my life. What are your thoughts on that guy?
I think he's very smart. I don't have so to be honest, I've only talked to him once, and there's very, very few people who get me to be quiet. And he did. He talked louder than me. He talked faster than me. He had more to say than I did. And not a lot of people do, right? Like I can go. I can give her, I'm pretty funny, I'm pretty smart, I'm pretty loud, blah, 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 blah. That dude just had me like, shut the fuck up and sit in the corner, boy.
That's hilarious.
So that's my Gary Vee experience. I think that he cares about his community, and I think he cares about NFTs, and I think he cares about the future, and I hope he continues to do awesome work and build a beautiful thing for all of us to play with.
Yeah, hell yeah, dude. I mean, what do you remember with Gary? Was it something like a convention you met him? Was it like a business setting or something like that? Pitching him? Was he pitching?
No, I was trying to convince him to. What was I trying to convince him to do? I don't remember. I was definitely trying. So he's very good friends with Mila and Ashton. He knows them quite well, like before NFTs and all that. And so probably they set up that call. But somehow it was a Zoom call like this, and
Okay.
I was trying to get him to do something, whatever it was, and I honestly don't remember. But he didn't do it because I ain't done no Gary Vee shit, so he didn't say yes.
Yeah, dude. Well, with social media, I mean, that dude just blew the fuck up. I mean, the past few years, I think he's been like on a slow burn, and then it just like really, really took off when the social media thing blew up. And he had all the money, he knew exactly where to allocate his money, exactly who to put in front of. He knew the audience. He had been cultivating that community for fucking ever, honestly. What are for you, maybe, because I know you do a little bit of trading. I know you're pretty aware of what's going on in the NFT space just at all times. I know you've been on a couple podcasts. I think I saw like 9 days ago, they published one, and you were talking about goblins. So, okay, so he knows what's going on. He's seeing the projects, he's seeing the teams and stuff like that. Are there projects? Well, you don't have to give specifics, but like, what are the things you're looking at in 2021 specific or 2022 specifically that for you build IP and like, because you're just like that's what you do. That's like your world. You're a business dude. I'm interested in business stuff. What are the things you're looking at for 2022 projects where you're like, yes?
I think the smell of the water is going to change. I think we're in a time of transition, and I think that I love the goblins. I really do. I bought a goblin for 2.5 ETH. And then I sold
Hey.
it for 1.5 ETH.
Oh.
Oh my god. I'm so
That's
good
hilarious.
at this. I'm so good at this.
Fuck.
I really, with all of my enthusiasm, uncaveated, love their work. I don't care who does it. I don't care if I find out that it's somebody who I dislike who's behind it. I think what they did was awesome. I also don't think it's the future. Like a lot of people are like, oh, Goblins just made a bunch of money, so let's do what Goblins do. No, the narrative, the fiction, the stories that we tell each other in the future are not going to look like Goblins.
Yeah.
But it's cool, it's fun, it's weird, it's part of the madness. I have no idea. I like to think about, like, I've spent some time thinking about, it's June 20, it's still in June, right? It's June 2022. We've got 6 months left this year. And there's going to be some really big projects to come out.
For sure.
They may not be as big as Apes, but there's going to be some really cool. There's going to be another Moonbirds. There's going to be another this. There's going to be another that. And what do those look like? My favorite part about what we're doing right now is I have no fucking idea. I have none. And that's neat. I've honestly bought hundreds of NFTs in my life. I've sold like 4 total. Ever.
It's tough to sell, dude. It's really hard to sell sometimes. When you get it, you're like, I want that.
I just like, it's all fucking fake monopoly money. It's internet money. I don't fucking care. I like the art. I like buying the art. It's fun owning the art. It's fun having the shit. I don't know. I'm not a flipper. I'm not a day trader. I never made any money. I did buy a CryptoPunk for $35, and I still own it. but wow. I still own it, and I bought it because it looked like Wonder Woman, and I fucking love Wonder Woman. And I didn't tell nobody because I was embarrassed that I had spent $35 on an NFT.
Yo,
I was like, don't tell nobody.
Damn, dude, that's legend.
But that doesn't mean I'm good at this. Like, I tell people that, and they're like, oh, you're so good at investing in NFTs. I'm like, no, I'm fucking not. I was lucky enough to be in this shit in 2017, where you too could have, like, it's not like I was smart or whatever. I just, I was lucky and dumb, and the right kind of lucky and dumb. And that made me buy a CryptoPunk that looked like Wonder Woman for $35 fucking dollars.
Exactly, dude. And honestly, that honestly is probably super appreciated by anyone watching, because I think for a lot of people, they look at someone with the Bored Ape and they go, oh, that motherfucker is a genius. And I'm like, dude, that guy's an idiot. He bought a fucking picture of a monkey a year ago, and he got lucky and he held. That's typically, like, that's probably what happened. Maybe not for everybody, but that's probably what happened. As we bring this interview to a close, because it's been fucking awesome. I'd love to definitely have you back on if you guys have any, especially with Big Head Club. I know we didn't get too big into Big Head Club, but I'd love to bring you back on. But I did have a couple like last minute, just like fire off questions. Bored Ape Yacht Club, Yahoo or Google? Or is it that you plead the fifth?
Fuck it, Yahoo.
Ooh, that's actually kind of me too. I've seen a change in their culture recently, and I'm not a huge fan. I do wish they would kind of just go in a direction where I'm like, it's a slippery slope. I don't know. I've seen some things where I'm like, man, I'm not sure about that.
To be clear, I'm wrong more often than I'm right. I've been the right kind of right before.
Yeah.
Right. I've been real right before, but I'm wrong more often than I'm right. But I'm gonna go with Yahoo. God, I'm gonna regret that. But whatever.
We might both be in there. It's gonna go down as like the worst ever podcast ever. Like these idiots called the worst ever. And then what was I gonna ask? Hold on.
For what it's worth, I still have the message in Discord that I sent to my team that was like, check out these apes. This is such cool art.
No way, dude.
And then I didn't buy it.
Oh my God.
But I literally, like, I can find the Discord message where I'm like, this is beautiful. This is this is what the NFT community needs. This is awesome. These people love the work that they're doing. This is so cool. And I didn't buy it. And I get what I deserve,
Well, that's how it goes sometimes. And then this was good because of your position as a builder, and you've just been in the space for a long time. You know who to follow, who not to follow. And you've been here. There's a lot of people in the NFT space who are super young. They weren't here before social media. Who are you following and why? I know you had answered last time that you were like Frankie Nines. That's the only person I put my money on. That's who I would follow if I had to pick one. But if you had to pick 3 or 2, who's it going to be besides Frankie?
I'm going to do Eugene, who is helping with Sad Girls Bar. and I'm going to always do Jordan at Doodles.
Jordan, gotcha. Right on.
Always. I wish I had more interesting articles, answers for you. I really love ... I really love toddler pillars. I think they're fucking weird in all the right ways.
Yeah.
Kai is amazing. I don't know if you know Kai. Kai is fucking incredible.
Kai from who? I may know them. I'm not.
Kai cracked the CryptoKitties genetic code. Kai
Okay.
pioneered Meebits DAO. Kai
Gotcha.
is currently involved with Super Geisha. Kai is one of these ones who like moves in silence and fucking slays.
Yeah.
Nate over there at Chain Faces is a fucking giant. I like all those ones.
Hell yeah. Well, thank you for the insight. And then final question, because I think this will help a lot of people watching. I'm sure you've hired and fired a lot of people, or I think you have, or you've at least been part of those conversations. You kind of know like how do people get into the Web3 blockchain space? They want to. I've always said like you can try to be a mod and try to work your way up. Are there any other tips, or is it pretty much just that, just work your way up?
Yeah. Get involved with another project, and that's probably the easiest way to do that is as a mod. I can't imagine anything better. Yeah. I think like I'm missing key experiences that I would have had if I had did that. Mm-hmm. And the other thing is it's getting pretty fucking easy to release your own collection now. It's getting pretty easy using things like West Coast NFTs, Art Labs, or Bueno, or all these other tools to generate all the art. They'll do the smart contract for you. Yep. You don't even have to pay up front. You can take a cut.
Oh my God, wow. Didn't even know that.
Yeah, like, so I want to be clear, like, don't go sell some shit, take a bunch of money from people that you have no intention of supporting or doing right by. If you are going to sell people NFTs, treat them well. Do it with honor in your heart. Do good by them. But also just do it. Like there's no better way to learn than to fuck up your project and then your next project and then your next project. Yeah. And the only thing I would say is if you do that, take a snapshot of the blockchain. Remember every wallet that bought into your fucking hopes and dreams and take care of them. Yeah. And then you fuck up all you want. Just make sure that as you get better, you bring along your tribe and those people who saw the sort of thing that you see.
Yeah. And what you just said about having a first project, second project, third project, a lot of people in this space don't look at NFT projects like a business. And in reality, almost every business fails the first time, or at least a version of it fails. In the NFT space, people are really big on like, no, if they failed in the past, then you cannot trust them. And I've always been like, well, hold on. It's like, it's a business.
You know, that's literally the perspective of children. Only a child is so naive to believe that you should get it right on your first fucking time. Anything that resembles life experience teaches you that you are going to get kicked in the dick over and over and over. And that's probably all that's going to happen. But if you are very lucky and a little bit smart and incredibly hardworking, you may not get kicked in the dick eventually. But the idea, like them 8 people, they seem to have connected on their first swing at bat. I salute them. I won't take anything away from them. But don't ever try and repeat that. You know what that reminds me of? Flappy Bird. The number of motherfucking people who I met who were like, we're going to build a Flappy Bird. I'm like, no, you're not. That was a single dude in Vietnam who defied years and years of experience of what it takes to succeed in the mobile games industry. If your fucking idea is that you're going to do what Flappy Birds did, you're fucking drunk. Yeah. That's it. And you're going to do what Bored Apes did? No, you're fucking not. Those guys are incredible operators. They've done very well. They've got great vision. They executed. And on top of all of that, like anybody with success, they were lucky as fuck.
Yeah.
But luck takes repetition. Repetition. And so this is the way.
Yeah, man, 100%. Dude, well, thank you so much for coming on. That was so fucking cool to shoot the shit with you. And anyone who's listening, thank you so much for being here. Code word, if you made it to the end. By the way, it's my Big Head Club. Big Head Club, I want to see you spam in the chats if you made it to the very end. And if this is not your first episode of Joyage Kingdom Podcast, I want to see OG spam in the chats. Then make sure you click the like button, subscribe to the channel. I got Mack's stuff in the description below. If you want to give him a follow on Twitter, I think that we could blow that dude up on Twitter. I think he should be. And I would love to, just thanks for coming on. I'd love to have you back on.
I look forward to it.
Hell yeah, man. All right, guys, thanks so much for being here. Continue on your Joyage. Continue to learn and be grateful you're alive watching this video. Bye.